Hey everyone, welcome back to Two Spot Monkeys Live, episode 26. Tom here with Jim, and we come to you this week, each of us a week older. I'm not sure about any more wiser. Jim, hey bud, how are you?
God, I hope so. As we go through these picks, I hope I got smarter because the last year has not been good to me on these picks. I am doing well. Yes, we both had birthdays since we last spoke to everybody. A little older, a little wiser. I actually I got a couple of cupcakes sitting over here for later. From that's actually Christmas related from work, but we'll pretend it's birthday cupcakes. Why not? One for birthday, one for Christmas. I think that makes sense. But yeah, I am doing well. I'm looking forward to this conversation. We've never done a double head-to-head, I don't think, or if we have, it's been a long time. I don't think since we've restarted this, we haven't done this. But we've got two pay-per-views to talk about. I also was going to mention I did get my Black Friday order in from Ringside Collectibles. I got Eric and Ivar and Superstar Billy Graham. Those three figures all look just as amazing as they should. All three should be in the conversation for like figure of the year. When you're talking our top 10 figures or whatever, they are amazing. Eric looks much tougher in his figure form than he does running around like an idiot in the 24/7 division, I guess, for lack of a better word. But I don't think we have to talk about 24/7 today too much. So, and I did pre-order the PWT's exclusive Mastodon head Vader today as well. It's only available for 24 hours, but there was no limit on them. They did an Owen Hart one about a week ago that was limited to 250, and it was gone in like a minute. I forgot that was happening. I probably would have ordered it as an investment had I remembered it. But this one probably won't go as much up because it's not as limited, but it looked pretty darn cool. So I was like, yep, that will be my first micro brawler. I've jumped down a new rabbit hole.
Here we go, slippery slope.
Right. Wallet heat, as the guys at Fully Posable talk about wallet heat. Yeah. I've thought about them before. This one was the one that made me jump. I don't own the Ricky Steamboat micro brawler, but now I'm going to own a Vader one. That makes no sense to me.
Sure. If I were to get one, I would want the Chris Hero, but I have no idea how, where, when, and I'm sure the price is jacked up because I've seen some of those that are like Loot Crate or whatever the mystery box, collectible ones. Like they just and the guys always chirp at the people who do that. I mean, but again, I guess if the demand is there, I mean.
I don't mind it after the fact when they're no longer available. If the price goes up, what I hate is when people get the very first shipment of something and they're going to come out, like AEW Series 2 right now, don't sell them for $100 a figure right now. They're hopefully going to hit Walmart. Hopefully distribution's better than Series 1. You and I have talked about how much of a hunt that was. I went ahead and just pre-ordered on Ringside MJF because that's what I want. So I'm not going to mess around and wait for him. And Ringside was also randomly sending out the chases on some of those. So, hey, if I got a chance at a chase, that'd be kind of fun. I probably got a better chance that way than I do finding one in Nebraska. So, anyways, let's talk. We do have a little bit of a time frame to fit this episode in today. So let's talk head-to-head. I don't know if we need to go over the numbers again. I think we can just simply say Tom is kicking the holy snot out of me.
Well, this is a make or break weekend. We can just say that it's a make or break weekend.
It is. I am 6 matches behind. Is that correct? No, 5.
6.
I am 6. Okay.
Yep, you are 6.
I couldn't remember if I went from 7 to 6, 6 to 5. What happened? So I'm 6 matches back. We have 14 matches to pick. Quite frankly, in the next 90 minutes, our head-to-head competition might be over because unless we have 6 differences out of 14 matches, which seems a little unlikely without me really looking right now at every single match and thinking, I have a sneaky hunch this might be over in about 90 minutes, and you might be winning today, right now, live on the air.
Well, we don't know. We didn't talk about this beforehand,
no.
So we don't. And some of our picks we talked about. We have some certainty there, and I think there's some that we might differ on. So let the fun play out.
That's right. Tom is sure that Kevin Owens is winning the Universal title when we get to TLC. Spoiler alert. But he told me he's picking him. Maybe he changes his mind here live on the air, but he told me before. So we're going to do these in chronological order, though. So we're going to talk Final Battle first. And first and foremost, what I have to say about Final Battle, I am so freaking excited for this show. And even though the card is not maybe what I would have loved to see, like having a live, okay, it's going to be live to us. I think it was actually taped last week, but having a live full Ring of Honor show, not a 1 hour, 2-match, 3-match Ring of Honor show, a full Ring of Honor show that's going to have storyline meaning, hopefully we think, and all of that. There hasn't been a live pay-per-view from Ring of Honor in a year. Final Battle was the last live pay-per-view for Ring of Honor because of the pandemic. That's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. And since February, there hasn't been actually a live full Ring of Honor show. I started to watch a little bit of it because I did my Honor Club subscription 2 days ago, I think. And I started to watch Gateway of Honor, which was their last live show. And I haven't gotten too far into it because this week's just been too busy. But I'm stoked for this show. And I mentioned in my birthday post on the thread, Ring of Honor is the promotion that my brother and I watched together more than anything. We attended so many Ring of Honor shows alongside you, Tom, for many of those shows in Chicago and other Detroit and other places as well. And so to watch this tonight is a little bittersweet for me because of losing my brother, but yet I'm excited to watch it, quote unquote, with him, if that makes sense. Hey, it was taped last week, as I said in my birthday post. He probably already knows what happened, so as long as he doesn't spoil anything for me, I'm good. But I don't know. I'm excited for this show. I hope it lives up to the excitement. What do you think of just going into Final Battle, Tom?
Yeah, my biggest thing here is seeing guys we haven't seen yet. So I think the TV product has been presented very well, very clean, a fresh paint of coat, if you will. But I'm excited to see Dragon Lee. I'm excited to see Roosh. I'm excited to see some of the other talents that we haven't necessarily seen on TV yet because of numerous situations and how this plays out. Because to me, this sets the course for what will at least be maybe Q1 of 2021 for Ring of Honor. So I'm super excited there. I just bumped up my Honor Club yesterday. So right there with you. I was a little nervous. I didn't think it went through at first because it gave me an error message on the screen. And then all of a sudden, all of the VODs appeared. And I was like, okay, that was odd. And then I got a billing statement too because I paid for it with my debit card. So that was cool. And the challenge I have personally is I want to watch it live tonight. I want to be invested for all 4 hours. We're also celebrating my daughter's college graduation in our own home tonight. So I don't know all of that entails aside from takeout pizza from a very cool craft brewery that does pizza. So if I can't watch Final Battle as it happens tonight, I'm hoping the on-demand is up really quickly so I can still get to it this weekend.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to be watching it live. That's my wife. She's got her Christmas dinner with a couple of coworkers, so I'll at least catch the early part of it live. And she kind of knows it's important to me that I really want to see this tonight because of Ted. So I have a sneaky hunch there won't be too much pressure to turn it off when she gets home or to go downstairs and watch it. We'll see how that rolls, but I'm looking forward to it. The first thing, just before we get into picks, and then we got to jump right into picks, is because EC3, Kenny King, Bandito, and Flamita each, because of pre-travel protocols, were unable to make it to the tapings for Final Battle and the TV tapings. EC3 and Kenny King have both confirmed that they tested positive for COVID-19. Bandito and Flamita, I haven't seen any confirmation, but you kind of assume that's probably what it is. I thought Bandito had it a couple of months back, actually, and had kind of struggled with it some. So if he got it a second time, man, I'm really, really sorry for him, or whatever the situation there might be. I haven't seen any confirmation on that for Bandito and Flamita. But that leaves Jay Briscoe without an opponent, who is supposed to face EC3, Ray Horace without two teammates, and Shane Taylor Promotions without opponents as well, as they were supposed to face Mexa Squad for those 6-man tag titles. They are going to, during hour one tonight, they are going to announce the card changes due to that. Last week, you told me kind of what you thought might happen, although I don't remember if that was while we were recording the podcast or not. So those who are listening, maybe you know what you said, and maybe they don't. So thoughts just on what might happen with Briscoe, Horace, and or Shane Taylor.
Yeah, so I don't have a good idea about Ray Horace, even though I would love to see him potentially be the opponent for Dragon Lee if he were to somehow be interjected into the four-way. I don't know, somehow I actually have another pick there. but that's also a true pick'em. That match to me is a true pick'em. So we'll get there in a moment. I know, and with bated breath, you're hoping that we don't have the same pick, perhaps. I had thought that
that was cross fingers, not middle fingers for the clarity.
I get it. Yeah, it is Steve Austin's birthday today. So,
there you go.
I thought that we could see Jay, work with PCO, and then of course his brother Mark, and face Shane Taylor Promotions, because there's a little bit of that history there with the Briscoes and the SOS, and have that be for the vacant 6-man titles if that's the route they choose to go. As I was thinking about it today, as we just started to record and Final Battle thoughts were filling my mind, I thought, how cool might it be to have Jay Briscoe be the one to face Dragon Lee for the TV title? That being said, I think we're going to have a lot of movement on titles tonight. So in that breath, I don't know that I would put Jay Briscoe in against Dragon Lee. So how about you? What are your thoughts, if anything, if you've had a chance to really
I'm all over the place too. Shane Taylor Promotions, I think, walks out the 6-man tag team champions tonight, one way or the other. I think they would have been my pick if Mexa Squad would have been here too. I think it makes sense. I think you help legitimize SOS when you do that. You might help legitimize the 6-man tag titles. You also cut down on whatever concerns there might be around travel. Now, I don't know. Maybe Roosh and Dragon Lee and Bandito and Flamita, had they been able to come in, maybe they were going to stay in the States and be able to be available more often. Roosh, I know his contract is up at the end of the month here, or that was what we once knew to be true. Certainly other things can happen, and maybe he has re-signed and we haven't heard it. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of unknown around that right now. I agree with you. I hope that Ray Horace gets a match, because I like Ray Horace. And it would suck if Bandito and Flamita's COVID situation or whatever happened pulled him from a match at Final Battle. That would suck for him. So I hope he gets a match. I was trying to think, is there anybody booked or not booked, that's been a little bit featured on TV? I was thinking through the Pure title tournament. Obviously, Russ Taylor is no longer available. I don't see Ray Horace versus Delirious. That just doesn't make any sense at all. Nothing really jumped at me. I don't really see Ray Horace versus Dalton Castle. And Dalton Castle, actually, they announced on Week to Week, is going to be on the call with Ian and Caprice tonight. So it's going to be a 3-man booth with Dalton. So he's not wrestling him. So I don't know. Maybe they'll bring somebody in. Maybe there's somebody they're going to give a shot to. But Shane Taylor Promotions, I like your Briscoes and PCO going for the 6-man titles as well. I worry about PCO working 2 matches. But it makes some sense. All I'm asking is, please God, don't let it be Shane Taylor Promotions versus Eli Isom, Ryan, whatever his name was, 3 students, basically, that don't have a lot of meaning. If they're going to win the 6-man tag titles that are vacant, let them beat someone who there's actually a chance you think the other team might win, because I think it will help them legitimize things. None of that counts in our pick'ems. So, because there's no real fair way to do that. But we will start with what is going to happen during hour number 1, which is free on YouTube and Facebook and the Best in the Planet channel and every other place where they can show a free video, from what I can tell, from at 7 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock your time, is hour number 1, which is free. Their free pre-show, for lack of a better word, but they're calling it just hour 1 of the pay-per-view. The winner gets a TV title shot later on tonight. Tony Deppen, LSG, Josh Woods, and Dak Draper. They've done a nice job on TV and on the week to week. And I know you don't watch week by week, but of giving these guys each a little bit of promo time. I thought LSG had a really good promo. Might have been on week by week, I think it was. But he went back to I can't think of the name of the place, but in his hometown where he saw his first Ring of Honor show, the venue where he saw his first Ring of Honor show, and how he was hooked that night, and what it meant to him. And now he's at Final Battle and he's got a shot to become the TV champ. I thought they did a really nice job with LSG doing that. Draper, I think, has been really good on the mic. Josh Woods, they clearly have been behind. They put him over Jay Lethal and then got him beat by Flip Gordon. What in the blue? And then Tony Deppen, I'm a fan of. I just like Tony Deppen. This is a real pick. You could go any direction. It depends on what do you want to do. Are you trying to make somebody tonight? Are you trying to help further something along? Is there going to be some storyline that comes out of this match for one or more of these people? I just think there's a lot that can happen in this match, which is interesting and fun. Look, I'm 6 matches down, so I got a couple of ways I can play things. I can either be safe and pick what I think will happen, or I can just take a crazy shot at something too. And I might do that later, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to go safe here. I think Josh Woods wins the title shot. And we talk more about what I think about the title later, but I think Josh Woods, with the push they've been giving him, even the loss to Flip Gordon not withholding, and you and I talked about last week how stupid of an idea that seemed to both of us. And after watching it play out on TV, by the way, still think it was a stupid idea. But I'm going Josh Woods for the 4-way.
Nice. Yeah. And I think with the exception of Tony Deppen, even though I thought he did look good in the pure tournament, each of these other 3 guys have looked extraordinarily strong within the context of the Ring of Honor TV delivery. LSG has the Lethal match where they went to the draw and Lethal won on a decision. Woods has been up and then down with the Gordon, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you bounce him back here, that makes more sense. Dak Draper had the Brian Johnston match, and that was a pure title match or pure rules match, and he looked good there. When I think about this, and I think about the potential of a title change later in the night, because again, I don't know how comfortable Ring of Honor is keeping talent that's international around until the pandemic really turns the corner in a different way. I'm picking someone here that I think has a chance to really have a rocket strapped to them and matches up, in my opinion, well with Dragon Lee and potentially gets the title. So I'm going with LSG as my pick.
That is, if I were to pick a second, if you were to say who's your B choice, LSG probably would be my B choice because I think they've done a really nice job with him. And spoiler alert, I figured you were probably going with LSG because you picked him up in our fantasy league. So that might have tipped me to what you were thinking, but my pick wouldn't have changed.
We are close enough in that league points-wise that I'm looking to get every angle I can.
Hey, and I don't blame you. And I had considered Josh Woods for my final pick in that league since I only have one ad and drop left, and I frankly just ran out of time and didn't get it done. So I guess that's not happening tonight. But for that reason, but Josh Woods was my pick before I saw that too. That's not why I went Woods. Tom, you get the first pick then for our next match, which is the ROH contract for Danhausen is on the line. Danhausen takes on Brian Johnson.
Yeah, I've never seen Danhausen, so I'm excited to see him. It seems to be over online, like in the Twitter sphere, if you will. It seems to be like an interesting character, gimmick, concept, whatever. So I'm eager to see that. And the gimmick here is if he doesn't win, he doesn't get a contract. And I think Ring of Honor is behind him based on all I've seen. So don't have a whole lot to say here. I think Brian Johnson actually is a good foil for what I think is a babyface in Danhausen. So Danhausen's my pick.
Yeah, this is my, if there's 8 matches, I think on this card that have been announced now with the deletion of a couple of matches, this is my 8. Danhausen's winning this match. He's getting the contract. I agree with you. Johnson makes a really good foil. He plays a nice, angry heel, but not like an angry badass heel who's going to beat you up. He's got an angry heel who says he's going to beat you up and then gets his butt kicked in the process. And then there's a spot for that on the roster. And so kudos to Brian Johnson for having that spot. But Brian Johnson's not winning a final battle against Danhausen and when Danhausen's contract's on the line. I've seen a couple of Danhausen matches when he worked Ring of Honor TV before the pandemic. My thought has always been he's more gimmick than substance in the ring, but maybe that'll evolve some too. I think they were just trying to kind of get the character over as they introduced it. which he's obviously very committed to, the character. I mean, he brings a jar of teeth to the ring that at some point, like Tommy Dreamer would hold your head back and then dump like thumbtacks into your mouth. Like Dan Hausen dumps teeth into your mouth. So it's a little weird, to be perfectly honest. But Dan Hausen wins this match. We'll spend more time on matches that we have more to say about, which might be the next match. The Righteous, Vincent and Bateman in a grudge tag team match versus Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, or I'm Matt Taven, as he likes to tell everyone in case we don't know who the former Ring of Honor champion is. I'm a little surprised this isn't a fight without honor or a no DQ or a street fight or a pick your random name for that type of match here. They're calling it a grudge tag team match, which, used to be on the card that you would get in the program of the old WWF house shows, when they had the old cards, and it would say that for a tag team match. So I love the little nod to the old. It's a little weird to have it on the graphic because it makes it feel like grudge tag team match is a type of match, and I don't think it is. I don't know.
Well, you have to define it between grudges and just pure competitive sport matches.
Right. Well, and maybe that is because Ring of Honor is all about sport and competition and all that. So this is a grudge instead of just, a tag match or even a pure rules tag match, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit. This is a match where I really have to flip a coin on because I can make a valid argument, I think, to go either way. Vincent and Bateman are the heels. I don't think this situation between them all ends tonight at Final Battle. I think this is going to be an ongoing, and I think it does end at some point in some sort of a street fight, no DQ, cage match of death. I don't know, something. Preferably not anything in a graveyard or a fun house of horror match or anything stupid and cinematic. Don't do it, Ring of Honor. Fight that pull to do something like that. So here's where I'm going to go for now. Well, I think it continues. I do think Matt Taven and Mike Bennett could use the win. I don't think it hurts Vincent and Bateman to get the win or to take the loss. I think Taven and Bennett get the win, but something happens after the match that continues this. Either Vincent and Bateman get some sort of a sneak attack. Maybe they debut a new member of the Righteous. Maybe that clown guy shows up who hasn't been around for any of this. Chuckles, I think is his name, if I remember right. And I actually think that is his name. I'm not even being a smart aleck when I say that. I think his name is Chuckles. I think something happens that continues this is never going to be over kind of thing. But I think Taven and Bennett get the win here.
Yeah, I think you're spot on in the sense that this has legs to continue on. But it also makes a lot of sense when I think you also tie in last year's Final Battle. If I'm not mistaken, that is where Vincent either attacked Taven or injured him, or that's what took him out. So when you think about full story or full circle storytelling, having Taven win and Bennett win makes like sense again. Then the hero gets his day. Even though I think this continues, I agree with you. I also picked this team. I just also have to say, Matt Taven has never done anything for me. Actually, he's like fingernails on a chalkboard when I hear him talk. So, I mean, again, he's not untalented. He's talented. I just don't like the way he's presented, and I never have. So, if I do watch live, and even if I don't watch live, this is the match I'm least looking forward to. Sorry, Matt Taven. I'm Tom Bobo, and I don't like you.
I just decided that now every time we get on a call, I'm just going to tell you, I'm Jim Fields. Anyways. No, I probably won't do that. I would agree with you that this is a match that probably has the least intrigue for me, even though I think they've told a good story. There's nothing been wrong with the story. I agree with you. Both Taven and Bennett are guys that the only time I really was kind of Taven when he first came into Ring of Honor clicked for me for a little bit. Then he did the House of Truth thing, and I don't know, it just never quite worked for me. I always liked Truth Martini, just didn't get Taven. I thought putting the belt on him was obvious that it was going to happen. I'm not convinced it should have happened. But it was, had we been doing a head-to-head for the G1 Supercard, Matt Taven would have been my pick there. I just think it was obvious that's where they were going. I like Vincent. I don't know what it is about him. I wish he wouldn't end every single promo with "Can you dig it, man?" Catchphrases are fine, but sometimes they get a little like, you got to make it seem natural that you got there. And he just kind of stops talking and then goes, "Can you dig it?" But no, I can't, Vincent. Stop. So I like Vincent and Bateman, but anyways, we'll move on. We don't want to spend 2 hours on a match that we're not even that excited about. Tom, that would mean you have the first pick for the Pure Rules tag match: Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus of the Foundation versus Wheeler Yuta and Fred Yehai. I might add, Tom, don't know if you saw the ROH Pro Shop now selling a replica octopus mask.
I did see that, and I think it's pretty cool. I'm not going to run out and buy it yet, or at all. I don't know. We'll see. I am a big Foundation guy, and I'm also really excited to see how they incorporate modifications of the Pure Rules. The tag match gives us a new format, and there's a couple of nuances to the Pure Rules that they're introducing here. So I would anticipate they're going to do their best to try to demonstrate that or give us opportunities to see those unfold before our eyes. I think Yuta and Yehai as a foil team for Tracy and Rhett make a lot of sense based on what we saw in the Pure tournament. This is also Rhett's first match back since Ring of Honor has come back and his true debut in the Foundation. So excited, looking forward to this. Big Tracy Williams fan. The Foundation is my pick here.
Yeah, okay. After Danhausen, this would be my next. Not a chance in heck of Yuta and Yehai winning this match. Actually, I think a bigger question is: do either Wheeler Yuta or Fred Yehai turn on the other one at some point and join the Foundation? Because I think either of them would make good additions to the Foundation. I don't think you want to grow it past that because you're at 4 at that point, or at 5, excuse me, at that point. And factions that get past 5, you start to get into NWO territory and everybody and their sisters in it, and that's not good. I also hope that Ring of Honor doesn't have eyes on doing a Pure Rules tag team title at any point in the future. That concerns me just a little bit, only because, again, you get too many titles and they don't mean as much. Work on reestablishing your tag team division, which you can have Pure Rules tag team matches as a part of. That's fine. But don't try to create 2 divisions in tag team when your tag team roster right now. I mean, you had to go to Mark Briscoe and PCO for your tag title match. So, yeah, it's probably not in the best shape. Nothing against Mark Briscoe or PCO, but when that's your final battle tag team title match and one half of your tag team champion seems to be the guy to lead the Pure title division, work on that tag division, ROH. You got a little work to do there. Williams and Titus are winning this match, period, end of sentence, moving on. Let's go to that Pure title match next, though, Tom. The Jonathan Gresham defends versus Flip Gordon. You and I have both been clear on this. I'm just writing down our Foundation picks on our previous podcast about this match does not make sense. It makes no sense. That being said, I'm sure it will be a good match. Both guys are talented. Flip Gordon is another one who doesn't click for me. I don't know why. As I said last week, I don't think it's necessarily his out of the ring beliefs because, gosh, there'd be a whole lot more guys that shouldn't click for me then. I don't know what it is about Flip. He just has never fully clicked for me. Jonathan Gresham, on the other hand, I love what the guy does. Jonathan Gresham reminds me of the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, when he was first, maybe not first, but when he was, just tying people up into knots in his Ring of Honor run. And there's, of course, going to be comparisons because of their size. Gresham has worn a maroon, set of gear before and a maroon robe. I mean, there's no doubt Danielson is a icon, mentor, whatever you want to say, someone that Gresham looked up to. Gresham obviously wants to make this Pure title division important, both storyline and I think in real life. I think that this is who he is. And I think that Flip Gordon is not the guy to lead the Pure division. You're still establishing this division. Jonathan Gresham is the linchpin of this division. So I don't see any chance that Jonathan Gresham loses the title to Flip Gordon here. I hope you see it differently.
Sadly, no. Yeah, so when we're talking about confidence picks, if there were to be confidence picks, this is my 8 because you don't reintroduce the pure title, give Gresham the tournament that he had, and start developing the foundation in the way that you are to flip the belt here and flip, no pun intended, to Gordon. So yeah, it's Gresham all the way, and I expect actually a really big 2021. Not that I want to see them at all even discuss merging titles again or retiring this title or one title or the other. But again, Gresham wants this belt to be on par with the world title. And how do you do that? You go out and you seal the show. You have performances that rival the other match and the other competitors. And I think you're going to begin to see that tonight. And again, I know we differ on our point of view in terms of the delivery or presentation of Flip Gordon in the ring. I favor him to more than you do, so I'm really excited to see this match happen tonight.
And I think it'll be interesting to see where does Flip go now. He really had just joined Villain Enterprises not that long before the pandemic hit. Of course, now Villain Enterprises has all gone their own way. Marty Scurll is kind of persona non grata in the wrestling business because of some accusations made there. That's a topic for another day and maybe even another podcast. Brody King, we're going to talk about in a little bit. PCO, we're going to talk about in a little bit. So Flip is kind of reestablishing himself in a new character here. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I think you and I knew you weren't going to pick Flip Gordon to win that title. It just, I don't think you've been drinking today while you've been working. So, I don't think that could happen. We're going to move. Oh yes, go ahead.
Just steady cans of LaCroix.
There you go. We're going to move on to the tag title match, which I think is interesting. Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham are the tag champs. I don't expect these matches to air back to back. I think you're going to maybe even open the pay-per-view itself with one of these matches. And I would open it with this match, to be perfectly honest. I would save the pure title match for later in the show, to help raise the prestige of that title. But I also think this will be a faster paced match probably than Flip Gordon and Gresham. So it could be a really good way to open the pay-per-view proper after hour number 1. Let's see, Tom, you are the one who gets to make this pick first.
I thought that was the case, but I was going to let you just roll with it because you were in the groove. The big question mark here is, again, where does Jay Briscoe factor into things? And does this match happen? Does PCO get taken out by Jay Briscoe and Jay Briscoe gets in the thing with Mark, or does Mark prevent that, or what's going on? And where does the 6-man potential play in here? All of those things we just don't know, and we're kind of armchair booking in a way of what we think we might expect to see. We might not see any of this. So, I think Foundation it goes over super strong on this entire show. So I'm sticking with Lethal and Gresham. The two titles I think are the safest, and I thought this before the card was fully developed, were the pure title and the tag titles, and I'm sticking with that today.
Interesting. All right. So this match, I think, will be a fast-paced match. Let's just pretend this match happens as it's scheduled, because that's really all we could do. I think you're right, though. I think during hour number 1, it's going to be very interesting to see, does Briscoe take out PCO? I've thought about that option, in which case this match should just get thrown out for a fix, and neither one of us are going to get it right or wrong if something like that were to happen. So we're picking this on the assumption that these matches happen as scheduled. We're going to have an interesting caveat, I think, in a moment when we talk TV title match that we're going to need to just discuss on air in front of everybody, but as to how we want to score that. But if this match happens the way it does, I might have a chance at a point here, because I think Mark Briscoe and PCO win the tag team titles tonight. And the reason I think that is because I think you keep Gresham focused on the pure title, and I think you can take the tag titles off of them, even though some formation of them having the tag titles and Jay Lethal wanting to go after the world title maybe, and the Foundation wants all the titles and all of that sort of thing. I think Mark Briscoe and PCO win the titles here. And I think within the next few months, Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus will win the tag titles from them. That's the way I see this going. I don't see this being a long reign for Mark Briscoe and PCO. I think it becomes a final battle moment, similar to PCO's title win last year at Final Battle. The Quebecer, Pierre-Carl Ouellet, is a former Ring of Honor world champion. Okay. PCO's fun. Do I think PCO should have been Ring of Honor world champion? Not really. And they didn't leave it on him terribly long. In fact, he lost it on the show that I just started watching, the Gateway to Honor show, right before the world shut down back in March. So, but I think Briscoe and PCO win this match. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be Briscoe and PCO brawling versus Lethal and Gresham, who want to wrestle. And I think Jay Lethal takes the loss here to maybe, for a short while, hint at some cracks between Lethal and Gresham. I don't think you split them, because I think you're still establishing the Foundation as one of the forces to be reckoned with in Ring of Honor, and I like the Foundation a lot. But you have that moment for them, maybe. So Briscoe and PCO is my pick here.
Very interesting. If that is the direction they go, it's going to be a historical footnote, because it will be the first time that either Jay or Mark win tag titles not with one another. And there's a big story that they've been telling, with them being the most decorated tag team in Ring of Honor history. So that would be interesting. That'd be an added footnote to the potential Hall of Fame resume of Mark Briscoe.
I never thought of Mark Briscoe as a Hall of Famer, but you might be right. You might. The accolades are there. The accolades are there. Absolutely. Let's go to the Ring of Honor TV title match. Now, here's my question to you, Tom. We have different competitors in this match. I have Dragon Lee versus Josh Woods. You have Dragon Lee versus LSG. When we score this afterwards, let's say, obviously, one of us is going to be wrong. Maybe both of us are going to be wrong about who's facing Dragon Lee in this match. Since unless they do some sort of a double pin with LSG and Josh Woods, they're not both going to be in this match. And if they do that again, we'll throw it out, because that isn't what we picked. So are we picking our guy, or are we picking Dragon Lee or hit Dragon Lee's opponent here?
Yeah, I think it's safe that we talk about our guy, but I think the way that we pick this match is we pick either Dragon Lee retains or Dragon Lee loses, and that's how the win or not win gets determined. It doesn't matter who wins in the end, whether it's our guy or not. It's, does Dragon Lee retain the title, or does Dragon Lee? Yep. Yeah.
Okay. And that doesn't change my answer in any way and how I think this goes. I just, for scoring my own as I'm watching it happen tonight, even though I have a sneaky hunch from conversations that we've been having here throughout this 37 minutes that we've been talking, I think we're probably both going the same way on this one. I love Dragon Lee. I think Dragon Lee is one of the best wrestlers in the world. I love that he's the TV champ, because I don't want him just pigeonholed as a junior heavyweight or a cruiserweight or a middleweight or whatever the company you're in calls those guys who are smaller. New Japan, he's in the junior heavyweight division when he works there. So I love that he's the TV champ, which puts him on par with heavyweights and people like that. Dragon Lee versus Dak Draper would certainly not be considered a junior heavyweight TV title match, which has happened actually again on Gateway to Honor, the show that I'm in the middle of watching. I haven't gotten to that match yet, but so I have Dragon Lee versus Josh Woods here. And the reason I picked Josh Woods is I think Josh Woods wins the title. And I'm also picking the field here. I think Dragon Lee drops the title for a couple of reasons. If it's anybody other than Josh Woods, I think because of the potential travel situation, I just think you get the belt off Dragon Lee right now. And if Dragon Lee is able to be in more regularly later, you can always go back to him. You can always do something else with him. But for now, get your belt on someone you've got a little more control over them being around. I hate booking by pandemic, but they're running the business. And I just think it's the smart thing to move. So I love that they've taken 4, not unknowns, but lower card guys that will be elevated if they get into the TV title picture and potentially win the TV title. So I love that it's them who are going to get this opportunity. And I think Josh Woods gets it because the only way it makes sense for me that Josh Woods lost to Flip Gordon is then you have Flip Gordon, who still has a world title shot in his pocket. He just got a pure title shot. He's looking for belts. Well, I beat Josh Woods. and Josh Woods is the TV champion, I want a shot at the TV title because I beat the guy who's holding it now. That's why I went Josh Woods in the 4-week. Didn't want to tip my hat yet to that until we got here. And that's why I'm also picking Josh Woods to win this match / the field over Dragon Lee.
Yeah, and I'm going to also go with the field here, but my pick, just for the sake of the discussion, is LSG. So we talked earlier about the week by week and the segment they did. I remember seeing a similar segment, and maybe they interspersed some of the same clips on week to week that they did in this pre-match vignette package before the match with Lethal, where he did talk about it was Final Battle 05. It was Edison, New Jersey. Low-key Kenta, and a bunch of other matches. I happened to be there live. That was an insane day because I think we drove straight through or close to straight through to get there from Michigan to Jersey, and then drove almost all the way back, but weather prevented that from happening, and roads were treacherous. It was December 17th, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, that element of the story is why, and also pair that with how competitive he looked in the Lethal match, is why I've gone with him here. And again, I also do unfortunately think, as much as I wish Dragon Lee could retain and have a just tremendous run, he got really shortchanged by the pandemic of not being able to give fans, and also maybe his lineage, his history, more oomph. And you can say that for a lot of people, but I too, like you, huge fan of Dragon Lee, love him in the ring. Should the sun set on this title reign tonight, I certainly hope that he goes back to New Japan, because there's a lot I think that could happen with him there, and I think that might be a better use of the right parts that he can fit with. So the field for me tonight, and the TV title does change hands.
Now, was Dragon Lee supposed to face Bandito at the 18th anniversary show? Was that right?
I want to say so.
I feel like it was.
Yeah. I wish I would have, again, had we known the world was going to completely turn upside down and just dumped out with Legos everywhere. I kind of wish I would have captured all of those cards that were set to happen. Because it would have been fun to say. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
I definitely feel like, especially over, say, the last 4 months, but definitely this year, I definitely feel like I've been walking on Legos barefooted. That's a good way to put that, Tom. That was good. All right. Well, the last match, Tom, you're going to get the first pick. It is the Ring of Honor World Title match. Roosh, the world champion, takes on Brody King. So we have, just for the record, we have 2 matches out of 7 so far that we have differences on. So we need 4 out of the next 7 to be different. I think I'm getting screwed.
Let's let it play out, but also it's you can't dictate circumstances.
And I can't make stupid picks that I just don't feel good about.
I wish there was one I could just pull out of a hat to say, "Don't you remember this?" I can't, though, because I would. And
how many times did they pick Randy Orton, for the love of God?
And I care about you as a person and your feelings.
Thank you.
But I'm also a competitor at the heart and the core of who I am. However, that segment of conversation aside, if we apply the same logic to the Dragon Lee scenario that you apply here, the pick becomes Brody King. Also, you have the factor of, again, the common knowledge, I believe, among most fans of the Roosh contract situation. Now, we don't know if Roosh came in last week and was in the bubble and renegotiated. For all we know, he's not going anywhere. But we just don't know. And we don't have that information to skew or to bias our picks here. I'm going to pick Brody King. That being said, I really wish this was Shane Taylor instead. But I'm hopeful that they're going to just have a kick-ass match, and it's going to blow me away. Brody King is not in Matt Taven territory for me, but he also I need him to start growing on me a little bit quicker, because he's big and he's rough and he's tough, but I need to see something more. I was really impressed with the Shane Taylor match. Without a doubt. And if there's going to be an opponent that's going to go nuts with him and be physical and aggressive, Roosh is that guy. And again, it's unfortunate too that Rush's title reign really has been marked by a pandemic than anything else, because there were tons of things on the table that could have probably and should have happened that we just won't likely see.
He won the title on the last show that Ring of Honor ran before the pandemic. Tom, I just don't know what to do here. Although I wrote something down, I'm so second guessing myself on what I wrote down. Here's my thing. I'm with you. Non-pandemic. Forget COVID-19 ever happened. God, don't I wish that we all could do that. Rush would be my pick on this match 100 times out of 100 matches. Mainly because, and I've made this joke a few different times, maybe even about this match, I feel like Rush versus Brody King is a Friday night in St. Louis match. Even though St. Louis was a Saturday night back in February, the last time they ran it. But, you know, they run Friday night in St. Louis and Saturday night in Chicago Ridge. Rush versus Brody King is the main event on Friday night. Rush versus Jay Lethal or something is the main event on Saturday night. At Final Battle, I'm disappointed that this is our main event. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that a match happens that makes me go, you know what? I didn't think it was going to be that, you know, like that coming in. And that was a really good Final Battle main event. Final Battle, of course, should have story that leads to this. Look, we're in a pandemic. I can't, you know, fault Ring of Honor for that. That's just ridiculous. What I can fault Ring of Honor for is Brody King's got like 2 wins. I mean, he beat Dalton Castle and he beat Shane Taylor. Dalton Castle's a former world champion. But Dalton Castle doesn't mean what Dalton Castle used to mean in Ring of Honor, to me anyways. Beating Shane Taylor was big, but again, Shane Taylor, I think, is ahead of Brody King on the we're building them up, but I don't think he's there either. I don't know that they have the right guy. Jay Lethal probably would have been my pick here to go against Rush, just because it's a big enough match. It's a big enough name in Ring of Honor. It feels Final Battle-ish in a year when you just haven't been able to build to a Final Battle match. That all being said, doesn't matter what I think, because Jay Lethal's not in this match. Brody King's in this match. I'm going to say Rush wins this match. I'm swinging for the fences here because I'm 6 matches down, Tom. My head tells me Brody King probably wins for all of the same reasons that I'm such a hypocrite, because I just told you Dragon Lee's losing the belt because he's a travel problem, and Rush is the same thing, and now I'm picking Rush to win the match. Part of it is I need a win, and look, if I lose by 7 or 8 or 9 matches, it's not going to matter. I lose. The only way I win is to have a couple of picks that go different than you. I don't know that I'm going to get 3 more different picks in the next show here, but I know I'm not going to get 4 different picks in the next show here probably. So I'm going to take my shot, see what happens. I hope he re-signed because I like Rush, and they cut Rush's first title reign too short as far as I'm concerned. I don't think PCO should have beaten him. And I think they kind of knew that when they flipped the title back to him 2 months later. I would hate for the pandemic to take away this title reign too, although I don't blame Ring of Honor if it happens, because if it is a travel problem, if Rush isn't going to be around or is questionable to be around, then you got to get the belt off him. And I guess you put it on Brody King. That was your choice. I don't like it though. So,
having not remembered the PCO and Rush history, I want to go back to what we said a few episodes ago. And that 4-way that I projected potentially as being the main event for Final Battle makes me really wish more so that we had it. I know, and again, I don't mean to be like, I'm a great armchair booker. I'm not anything. I've never done anything in the wrestling business except for set up chairs one time at Ring of Honor. That's
which is more than some people in power have ever done.
To quote a friend of ours, no names, please. Anyway, a 4-way with Rush, PCO, Shane Taylor, and Brody King gives you maybe a little bit more latitude to do something. And it harkens back to the first main event at Final Battle 2002 when you had a 4-way. It wasn't for the title then. That being said, again, I think it would be an ode to the history of the promotion. Again, it's a blank canvas, for lack of a better term. And there's some colors already on it, and there's going to be a lot more colors that we add to it tonight. So I don't blame you for your pick, and I'm glad that we have 3 differences here, no matter what, because I love the idea that we're inching closer to potentially having you having a shot, or hey, if we result in a tie, it's just two guys with a big smile on their face.
That's right. Since I've already paid off my fantasy football bet, I'm okay if I don't have to pay off one more. Well, we have another show, and I gotta say, Tom, I'm not as excited about TLC as I am about Final Battle, but I also don't think it'll be a bad show. Like, it's not, what was it, Extreme Rules, I think, where you and I were both just like, I'm going to watch it, but I don't know why.
The horror show. Oh.
Horror show. Wasn't that when they had the stupid eye for an eye match? Was that at Extreme Rules? Yeah. We don't have time to go down that rabbit hole again, nor do I hate myself enough to do that. And their build's been okay for TLC. I don't know. It's just missing something. And I guess I'm a little like, they have the 2 TLC matches, but we usually also had a tables match somewhere. And I mean, the women's tag match that was originally scheduled for this show screamed tables match. They put Lana through 9 tables and then didn't make it a tables match. What are we doing? Like, I mean, you wrote the story and then you didn't do it. Some sort of a ladder match, although the TLC matches kind of take care of that piece. When they've had chairs matches before, I just think a chairs match is stupid. I don't know why, but a chairs match has always been, when Mark Henry and Ryback had a chairs match a number of years ago, dumb, just dumb. So I don't know. This show it'll be fine.
On paper, there's a lot of really good matches when you think about the competitors. Then you have to remember this is WWE we're dealing with. and that's the truth, but it's also sad. Like, it really truly is. And it doesn't again diminish the talents in the ring, nor probably how they're gonna, because they have personal pride, I'm sure, as well. More than just how they're presented, how they're booked, the man in charge, or the people with the pencil. I agree with you. I'm looking forward to it, but it's a different level of interest than I believe we both have for Final Battle.
Yeah. So I get the first pick here, since you had the first pick in that Ring of Honor title situation. And we're going to start with the Raw Tag Team title match. The New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, defend against the Hurt Business of Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. I'm not 100% sure what we're doing with this storyline. Shelton Benjamin has gotten beaten about 9,000 times in a row. Cedric Alexander seems to win most times when he faces the New Day. And they've hinted towards, like, Cedric's been a little cocky, and you've gotten some funny looks from MVP and Shelton Benjamin. I really hope they're not breaking up the Hurt Business. Like, I feel like that faction still has a lot of legs to it. And a tag title run would give some legitimacy. I think it would be a nice step up for Cedric Alexander as well. And the New Day, for a little while, almost were acting heelish, or like they were better than having to deal with the Hurt Business. It's just been weird booking in this feud. That all being said, if the Hurt Business loses this match, what's been the point of anything you've been doing? And I'm not sure even if they win, there's a point to anything you've been doing. But to me, Benjamin and Alexander have to win the tag titles here. I don't fully understand what we're doing with the Hurt Business or the New Day. Honestly, to me, I think they should put the tag titles. This is going to sound stupid, so stay with me for a minute. I think they should put the tag titles on T-Bar and Mace.
There we go. We got our retribution plug.
A, it would make as much frickin' sense as anything else they're doing right now. B, those two guys actually look dominant, and if you actually book them to be dominant instead of that faction to be, Wile E. Coyote and his band of friends who can't do anything right, maybe you could do something with that. But I'd actually be trying to get retribution over, and clearly that is no longer a priority to WWE. I'm not convinced it ever was. I'm going to go Benjamin and Alexander here. Not real strong confidence in that, but I'm going with it.
That's a good pick, and I think this is a match that could be a coin flip in a way too. But you're right. Like, where are they going and what are they doing? And sadly, I think you can use that statement in a lot of WWE stuff. But we talk about WWE, so like we have the right to be critical and make that statement and ask that question. I think my head thinks that the Hurt Business is going to win. But I agree with you. Something's off with Cedric, but why would you get rid of him after you recruited him in, and why would you turn on him? Like, all of that doesn't jive. And giving them the belts boosts them because you've got Lashley as the U.S. champion, and you become dominant because you're winning and you have gold. And New Day is evergreen; they're never going to not be over, so they don't need belts to do that. However, I don't see the title switching here. I think the New Day retains because that's WWE for you. Like, they've been on that path where Cedric's been the one getting the win, and somehow, some way, there's going to be something happens with he and Shelton, I think, and that's how the New Day retains the titles. So we have another different pick. I want the Hurt Business to win for the Fantasy League because I think really close to claiming Shelton Benjamin. Again, did that on the whim of I need points. However, my pick is the New Day.
I kind of thought you were going to pick them because of that, to be perfectly honest with you, Tom. I was a little disgruntled that in my brain I didn't think about that when I made the PCO ad because WWE titles are worth more than Ring of Honor titles. So, yeah. Might have been stupid. So there we go. We have our fourth difference. We'll know if we get to 6 differences, we'll know by the end of tonight because whether I've still got a shot going into Sunday. But we'll know here in 5 more matches whether it even matters. Let's go to the women's tag title match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defend versus Asuka and a mystery partner after Lana apparently being put through a table 9 times wasn't enough to get her out. But then they torqued the holy snot out of her leg. I mean, that just looked, they certainly made it look nasty when they took her out. But she's apparently out. I have found nothing that says she's actually injured. And the fact that she worked a match that night tells me I don't think she really is. I think they're choosing to do this for storyline reasons. Again, why? Why? But you get the first pick here, Tom.
Yeah, well, I just want to start off by saying, Jim, you've been waiting for this for a long time. Your payoff in a different way is here. The mystery partner, Peyton Royce.
Peyton Royce. There it is. We've been waiting for her. We want Peyton.
Yeah, I have no idea who the mystery partner is, but when I was preparing for our conversation, that thought hit me, and I just smiled, knowing what we've talked about before and how she completely has fallen off the face of the earth since pinning Bayley.
Survivor Series. Where I don't know.
I think Nia and Shayna retain here. Having Asuka be the Raw Women's Champion and then having another title and then having just a random mystery partner, unless that mystery partner is Lana and the payoff is that they win the titles together. Right. That's all I would see that would make sense. But I also don't think they're going to go down the same path where they did earlier in the year, where you had Sasha and Bayley having all of the straps. I don't think that you do that here with Asuka, nor do I think you need to. So I think the champions retain. I have no clue who the mystery partner is. If it ends up being Lana, what in the heck was the angle on Monday Night for in the first place?
Yeah. So here's my outside shot for the mystery partner. It's almost Royal Rumble and WrestleMania time. Charlotte Flair. Here's my problem with that pick. I agree with you. I don't think the only reason you put the tag titles on Asuka would be with Lana, to give Lana that win. And then you probably quickly flip them either back to Nia and Shayna or I don't know, to some other random pairing of 2 ladies that they've done nothing to build up. Or maybe you flip to Mandy and Dana.
I was going to say Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez.
If they were to, Dakota's out for a little bit injured, though. Is she injured or injured? We'll see. I think you got too much to do to build up Raquel over in NXT. I haven't seen NXT from this week, so I've seen about 30 minutes of AEW, and that's it from this week. So other than Raw, and that's 3 hours of my life I can't have back. So the only reason to do that, like Asuka and Charlotte as tag champs, makes zero sense. My thought would be you bring Charlotte back here and you start building towards either Charlotte, Asuka at the Rumble, or some sort of long-term build to Charlotte, Asuka at Mania. And there's a lot of story you can tell there because they faced each other at Mania before and all of that. And I don't know, if it's not Charlotte, I don't think you would waste a Ronda Rousey return at TLC in a women's tag title match. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I hope the search party is out there trying to make sure Peyton's okay. Billy Kay has gotten more TV time than Peyton Royce lately. My blood pressure's going up, Tom. I don't know what's happening here, but they kind of teased that it could be Mandy or Dana on Monday. And then you're building Mandy and Dana as a team. Don't put one of them with Asuka for the night like that. That would be dumb. So that's where I think Charlotte might make some sense. That being said, then how do you beat Asuka and Charlotte? Like, that should be a tag team that beats everybody. So that becomes tough too. And maybe it's some miscommunication that starts something between the two of them, or maybe Shayna taps Asuka, and maybe at the Rumble we get Shayna and Asuka, and we get Asuka and Charlotte at Mania. I could deal with that. That would be fun. But Nia and Shayna are winning here, I think. I probably would have picked Asuka and Lana had they kept this match the same, and especially had they made it a tables match, because Lana putting Nia through a table is the payoff that you're building towards for 9 weeks. You spent 2 months building a story for a company that can't spend 3 hours and keep a freaking story moving along in any way that makes sense in Raw. You spent 9 weeks telling a story that now you just choose not to pay off. Mind-numbing. It makes no sense. All right. Enough of that before I blow a gasket about the Raw Women's division. But hey, the good news, Tom, I don't know if you saw it. On SmackDown tonight, while you and I are busy watching Final Battle, the Street Profits will defend the tag team titles for, I think it's the first time ever, against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. I've been waiting to see that match. I don't think I've ever seen. God.
Short-term memory loss is what they think we all have, and a long-term memory loss.
I almost want to go. I don't know if you've ever used the website profightdb.com. It's a great resource for matches, wrestling match results, and you can search by wrestler, and then you can search by their opponent and/or tag partner, so you can see how many times have Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins been in the same match, which obviously would be a lot lately. I almost want to go and look at Street Profits and Dolph Ziggler and see like the 8 pages of results that you're going to get, and that doesn't even include house shows because we've been in a pandemic for 9 months. Anyways. That match isn't happening on the show at this time. Maybe they'll add it after they have their first match ever tonight. It'll mean a rematch Sunday on the kickoff show that I will not watch. SmackDown, though, does have a women's title match on Sunday. And let's see. You made the last pick first, so I make the pick here. SmackDown women's title match is Sasha Banks versus the returned Carmella. I got to say, I kind of like the new attitude of Carmella. I like that she's not the almost ditzy Jersey girl that she played for so many years. Of course, she was with Enzo and Cass to begin with, and then they never fully changed her gimmick. She was just kind of the same character after Enzo and Cass went away, and they could stay away. That's okay. Carmella was the star, frankly, of that shtick. Enzo's not a star. Enzo's a twit. But I like this new attitude to Carmella. I like the idea that she's, I can't think of the word that she uses, but she's the thing. Like she's it. No, nobody's better than her. She's the thing. Carmella's good in the ring. She's not probably Sasha's level in the ring, but she's good in the ring. I think this will be a good match. So we have, of course, the story that Sasha never holds the title for very long. She has defeated Bayley in a rematch. And they've built a nice little grudge here between Sasha and Carmella. I just don't think you take the belt off Sasha this soon. On the flip side, I don't think you really need to beat Carmella this soon either. But hey, it's WWE, so why not do something stupid? And book a match that you really can't book your way out of, because neither one should probably lose right now to the other one. So why not build Carmella up with some wins against some other people and then build her towards Sasha? Why would we want to do that? Let's just put her right in there, feed her to the lions, let her get beat. Now Carmella will mean nothing. So all that to say, I shake my head at the booking. I think this could be decent, though, in the ring, but I think Sasha wins the match.
Just remember, Jim, wins and losses don't matter in the WWE, only in head-to-head.
You in head-to-head.
Yeah, Sasha's my pick, too. I really enjoyed the match they had a week ago on SmackDown and the post-match angle. It really gave a lot of grit to me for Carmella, and it mirrored the attitude. And again, because the vignettes that teased her coming back didn't give us this side of her. It was, kind of like glamorous, but
like Emelina almost for a little bit there.
Yeah, right. But what we've seen hasn't necessarily matched that apple for apple, which is good because I actually like the direction they've gone. I like that they've legitimized her more so than they ever had before. And again, having a champagne bottle smashed over your back and whatever holds champagne or wine dumped on your head or smashed over your head. I mean, she brought Sasha to the woodshed after that match, went to a DQ. So, but yeah, you don't take the belt off Sasha here. I think, I may be totally wrong. I think the long-term play is Bianca Belair eventually beats Sasha. Who knows? But Sasha retains.
That should be the long-term plan. If Bianca Belair does not win the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania, they're idiots. That crown her there. Hopefully there's some fans able to be at WrestleMania. I think that would be really good. Yeah, Bianca's a star. But I think I'm glad they didn't rush her right into a title match. Like they're doing with Carmella here. You're building her, build her well. And Sasha and Bianca, promo-wise, if nothing else, will be awesome. I mean, that's going to be fun to watch. Well, Tom, the next match. Yesterday morning, they switched this. This originally was just a match between The Fiend and Randy Orton. But after the events of last Friday night, when Randy Orton attempted homicide on Bray Wyatt and lit a, road case on fire that Bray Wyatt was in, he was not arrested for attempted homicide. He was instead granted a Firefly Inferno match versus The Fiend, who he was already facing on Sunday. No word yet on what a Firefly Inferno match is. We, of course, had the Inferno match. Maybe there's been one other, but we had the first ever one was Kane and The Undertaker. Kudos to Kane and The Undertaker. I've seen some of the Stone Cold, what does he call them? Stone Cold Sessions or whatever it is, the podcast interviews with The Undertaker. I also saw The Undertaker and Kane when they did their sit down, walk down memory lane. If nobody's watched those on YouTube on WWE Network, they are highly recommended. All three of those shows I really enjoyed, learned a lot, and they said it was just hotter than hell, literally, no pun intended, in that Inferno match. And I can't imagine you got flames shooting up every time they hit the mat and whatever. I don't know if that's what we're doing here. You certainly could. You're in a closed environment. You got control of the environment, all of that. Your pick. I didn't want to go too far down that because that gets into what I think might happen. So you get the first pick. So you go ahead, Tom.
You got it. Yeah. So my pick is The Fiend, and
congratulations, Tom just won head to head.
I thank you. I think for me at least, and it's been one of those, it's not always perfect, but when you look at how they've presented The Fiend and how I think that he connects in an era where there's literally no audience, as a fan on my end, I think it's one of the best things, if not the best thing WWE has done this year, or from March on. I go back to the Cena stuff that happened at WrestleMania, the stuff with Braun Strowman. He's used so sparingly, the Fiend that is, that I think that there's still mystique there. So whoever and however this match ends up playing out, I hope really Fire's not involved, but that's the payoff, really, if it's an Inferno match. Yep. I just don't see Randy Orton getting the win. I don't see anyone beating the Fiend, like in normal rules matches. So maybe that would lead me to pick Randy Orton here, but I'm not going to, especially because as ironic as it seems, the Fiend should be going for revenge if Bray Wyatt was set on fire in a case. So that's, again, we're trying to apply logic to something that WWE is presenting. That's the first left turn that we took wrong.
Oh, yeah, we took that a long time ago. I went. The Fiend is my pick here. I tried to come up with a reason to come up with Randy Orton to win this match, because you could set the Fiend on fire and still have him rise from it, kind of thing. And they might do that. Like, there's a part of me that thinks I wouldn't totally be shocked if Randy sets him on fire, but he did that on Friday. So to do it again on Sunday seems a little silly. And I mean, the Fiend walked out of fire on Friday. So what does it even matter to light him on fire? Because clearly that doesn't work. And ultimately, I really do think the Fiend wins this match. And I also realized that picking out Randy Orton here would only get me to 5 differences. And I am 99.9% sure that you and I are going to have the same picks on the 2 title matches. So swinging for the fences for Randy Orton doesn't really do anything to me here, especially when I just don't really... The only reason I would pick Randy Orton to win this match is because it makes no sense for Randy Orton to win this match. So therefore, WWE might just do that. But picking Randy Orton also led me to this hole. So up yours, Randy Orton. The Fiend lights you on fire.
It's almost fitting that we're here, and
yes.
Randy Orton is where it actually comes down to being the deciding factor. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Light him on fire, Fiend. Light him on fire.
Well, so with that being said, I don't want to diminish our final 2 picks, but I think we have consensus that with the 2 title matches and the 2 TLC matches, we both see each champion retaining. Am I correct in that?
No, I thought we were both picking title changes. No, yes, you are correct in that.
Sure. So I think we should. I don't want to not give each match, their own time, but I thought it might be interesting because we don't have any difference in pick here, and for all intents and purposes, the contest is decided. Which of these 2 matches are you most looking forward to?
I am most looking forward. So here's my one. Probably Roman and Kevin. For a couple of reasons. One, I like that Kevin Owens is back in the world title picture, if only for a month. I don't know that it's going to be a lasting thing for him. But Kevin Owens, while used kind of well in WWE, I mean, he's got a ton of titles. He's got, really, if you look at it, Kevin Owens has been successful. I don't think they've ever scratched the surface of what Kevin Owens could have been for them. Kevin Owens can talk like he's one of the better promos in all of pro wrestling, in my mind. And I think Kevin Owens is best if you would stone cold him and just give him some bullet points and let Kevin Steen, the man, figure it out from there. You and I had a chance to, unfortunately, in text format, I really wish it could have been in an audio format or a video format. We had a chance to interview Kevin Steen a number of years ago here on 2 Spot Monkeys in our first iteration. It was unfortunately through email, but he was witty. In fact, for the record, if anybody remembers when Kevin Steen faced Eddie Kingston in Shikara and said, maybe I'll come out as Bumblebee and put a Bumblebee mask on in a promo, the very first place he mentioned Bumblebee was 2 Spot Monkeys. It was our interview, and then he cut the promo on Ring of Honor television. Now, I'm not saying he didn't already have that planned, but the very first place you ever saw Kevin Steen talk about being Bumblebee for Chikara was on 2 Spot Monkeys. Just a little piece of side note history. Look it up, people. It's free, it's there. So I think that's the one I'm most interested in. My one, here's my fear, and I know it's totally going to come true. TLC matches, because they're no DQ, they're, you know, all of that, we're going to see Jey Uso get involved in that match. I wish we wouldn't. We're going to see The Miz, John Morrison, and Omos probably get involved in the WWE title match. Now, Omos is one who there could be some sort of really cool ladder spot with him because he's as tall as a freaking ladder as it is. That could be interesting, almost. Please. I don't know why you put the Money in the Bank case on Otis, only to just have him lose it. And now Otis has joined Team Alpha and is being trained by Chad Gable, which I actually, the first time they did that, I was like, oh, cool. They're going to turn them into wrestling, you know, machines, and they're just going to start tearing people up. No. Okay. Yep. Sorry. Again, I tried to apply logic to that. So you put the Money in the Bank case on Otis. Now you just took it off him through a stupid story. You're doing nothing with Otis. Get the thing off The Miz. The opening to Raw on Monday night was awful. The whole Christmas story and John Morrison playing Braveheart McIntyre and stabbing and the whole, oh my God. Oh, end it. But we know The Miz is going to be involved in this somehow. Maybe he'll cash in on Sunday night so we can get him Claymored and get him the heck out of that title picture and let him look, he outkicked his coverage in Marriage. Be a happy guy. Go live your life with Maurice and the kids. Get off my TV. He's gotten to the point, you know, I have been a fan of The Miz, and I think The Miz could have been bigger for WWE, and I know you don't feel that way. We've talked about that before, but at this point, they've just turned him into this annoyance, and not in a way that I'm like, oh, I really want to see that guy get his butt kicked. He's an annoyance, and like, just, I don't want to watch him. I want to fast forward past his crap. John Morrison should be a star for that company, and they've made me not give a rip about John Morrison. So I guess that's my rant about those two matches. If they just leave them to the four men who are scheduled to be in those matches, those could be very, very good matches.
Yeah, my pick of the two, and I forget if we even said this before we recorded or while we were recording, because we talked first about Final Battle. But on paper, I love both of these matches. Like, these are the two types of matches where, without a gimmick, I think they'd be great matches in the ring. I would love to see Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns give me 25 minutes. I would love to see Drew and AJ give me 25 minutes. They are incredibly talented individuals, wrestlers that I think are in the upper echelon of anywhere in the world. And then when you add a TLC gimmick to it, it doesn't hurt things, in my opinion, either. It maybe adds the physicality. The physicality is really where I want to see it, in that Kevin Owens Roman Reigns space. And I also would agree with you that that's kind of my lean-to match of what I'm most looking forward to. The only other thing I will add on to what you said, and you summarized it all really well, and you talked about it really well. I would never want to be on an island with The Miz and Matt Taven and myself, because I would probably have to commit a homicide. And if I could ever get off the island, because that would not be good for any of us. But Matt Taven would go first. What am I doing? I'm acting like I'm going to murder someone. That's not true.
This podcast is so getting flagged.
Can I retract all of those statements? They're all in jest.
Right. Our names are not Tom or Jim. We are Jeff and Stu. We will blame those two for this.
Good grief! That got dark quickly. The only other thing that I wanted to add to what you shared, and it wasn't what I said, was just the potential involvement of Sheamus and how he might get in the mix here. I'd love to see actually Sheamus and McIntyre kind of in a longer term program, and if maybe that's what happens for Rumble, I would be on game on for that. Yeah, Miz having the briefcase, it just does nothing for me. And, you know, if he cashes in and doesn't win, what a waste. I mean, I know it's a gimmick, and you can't always have everybody cash in and win the title, but you chose to pivot it from Otis to Miz. You could have pivoted it from Otis to anybody else, and that's the direction you chose to go. So anyhow, Drew McIntyre is the pick for the WWE title match on both of our ends, and Roman Reigns is the pick in the Universal title TLC in both of our choices. And we will see where the dust settles in the end when we come back next week.
We have four matches
or the next time.
for the two shows that we differ on. So one of two things can happen. Well, a number of things can happen. Worst case scenario, I get beat by 10 in a 6-month competition, and that's just embarrassing. although I don't feel strong enough about any one of those 4 picks to think that's not going to happen. Although you going undefeated over 2 shows back to back on the same weekend would be remarkable. And you've had a really good run. So kudos to that, Tom, and who knows, maybe it'll happen. Best case scenario, though, is that I will lose this competition in 6 months by 2 matches, which is very respectable in the end. And much more likely is something in the middle, where I probably lose by 6 because we go 2-2 across these or something like that. So we'll see what happens. But it's always fun. I think the plan, as I say this, excuse me, while we record, is we'll reset then here at the turn of the year, and we will start again with a new 6 months. Tom's nodding, so that's good. Probably, I think we should do Wrestle Kingdom. I think we should include Wrestle Kingdom into this head-to-head if we can. So
yeah, I'm game on for that. That sounds like a great plan.
I think that'd be a fun way, and we'll keep this rolling. Just programming notes, we have talked about, we're hoping to be able to touch base next week and do a Christmas episode. We know who's won head-to-head, but maybe we talk through 3 big things from these shows. And another idea we've had is to talk a little bit about our favorite wrestling gift that we've ever gotten, wrestling-themed gift. So we're hoping to find a time to do that. It's just going to depend on our schedules, obviously with Christmas and all of that. And work and all of those kinds of things. Tom and I will have to just figure it out. So no promises on next week. But then the week after Christmas, I know we're going to try and connect that week as well. And I think it'd be fun to do some sort of a year-end, what a year it's been, 2020, look back and maybe talk about some of our favorite things that have happened over the year, even though we had that large chunk where it was just WWE really and AEW for a number of months there in the wrestling world. What was your favorite cinematic match of the year? Oh, Jesus.
Something you never knew you needed until you received it. A cinematic match.
A cinematic match, yes. A trash monster with the Street Profits. I'm not letting go of that, am I? I'm not letting go of the trash monster. But above all, folks, since this will be the last time we talk to you, well, no, maybe not the last time we talk to you before Christmas, if it's the last time we talk to you before Christmas, if we don't get a chance to record next week, Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday season. Enjoy wrestling. You know what? We've got 2 shows this weekend, and then we've got some other weekly shows. Impact and AEW, that seems to be going on, even more. They've announced that Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers are going to take on Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns at their next pay-per-view, Hard to Kill, in January, which I got to say on paper, that could be a really fun 6-man tag. I mean, The Machine Guns and Swann bumping around for the Good Brothers. Obviously, Omega is Omega. Anderson, I think, is really underrated, frankly, as a wrestler. That looks really fun. Wrestle Kingdom is coming in a couple of weeks. We've got, Tetsuya Naito is going to be defending the title against Kota Ibushi and then the winner of that will face Jay White. You got Okada versus Ospreay. There's a lot of good stuff going on in wrestling right now. So, hey, if you don't want to watch TLC on Sunday night, I can't even say I blame you. Watch something else. Honor Club is back. Final Battle is there. IndieWrestling.tv, IndependentWrestling.tv, which is, got Game Changer Wrestling and Beyond Wrestling and all of those different organizations is on there. There's good stuff out there. So take some time over the holidays, watch some good wrestling, watch some bad wrestling. I don't know, whatever you need to do. Sometime, Tom, I haven't told you this before, and I know we're running up against time here, but we've talked about retro reviews. We've got a couple that we've talked about doing here for the future. One that we even started watching and haven't gotten finished. But I think you and I should do a retro review on the Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view. Do you remember this Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view from a number of years back?
Loosely, yeah.
Yokozuna and Jake Roberts wrestled Jim Neidhart and I'm forgetting now who the other one is in the main event. It could be Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Everybody's out of shape. They get winded. They get blown up. It's just like the worst thing ever. But it's all wrestlers that were huge stars when you and I were young. It's a terrible wrestling show, but I think it'd be fun to do a retro review on it. And it's on YouTube. So, if you ever want to punish yourself for 2 hours, you can watch that show and we can talk about it here on the podcast. Tom, anything you'd like to
I don't want to punish myself. No, I don't. I want to just live. I want to live high in good standing and be a very non-murderous individual.
That's true. Yes, we'd like to make sure that we mention here on the podcast we condone no violence, and anything we have said is all in jest. Seriously, though, be safe, everybody. Enjoy the weather. It's beautiful here in Nebraska today. There's still snow out on the ground from earlier a week ago, but it is absolutely gorgeous in Nebraska today. I know our friends in the Northeast, Annette, stay safe out there in the snowstorm. I know she posted a couple of Facebook Live videos with the 6 mountains of snow that's falling out there. Stay safe. Tom, is it snowy in Michigan?
No.
Not at all.
Nope. I mean, in some parts, not my parts. So
right.
It's actually insane. Like we're like 17 inches below like what normally would have fallen at this time of year. So, but I'm good with it. I don't mind not shoveling, and I appreciate somewhat of a blue sky and sunshine. So, rock and roll.
If it's nice where you are, get outside, enjoy the fresh air, and stay away from people. That's just the best thing we can do right now.
6 feet of social distancing all the time.
Amen. Everybody have a great weekend. We will talk to you again just as soon as we can. Hit us up on social media, though, and we'll talk with you soon.
Take care.
Everybody.